Welcome to the Wrestling Nerds Alliance podcast, featuring Robb English, Clifford L. Johnson,
oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It feels good to be back. I don't know, had a rough week this week. I'm Robb English.
I'm Clifford L. Johnson.
And we are WNA. So, yeah, I don't know. I got a sore back, sore neck. Are you feeling okay, Cliff?
I'm feeling fantastic. What the hell happened to you?
Shit. Just the normal stuff. After we recorded last week's episode, I don't know what happened. Somehow I ended up in the back of a garbage truck.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing is, the only person I think that could understand what I went through is Braun Strowman. Oh, because, same thing as him. It's like this weird time-space, continuum. Things just kind of, you're stuck in limbo almost when you're in the back of a garbage truck. You're in there for days. You don't need to eat. You don't need to drink. You don't need to go to the bathroom. You just basically sit in there and contemplate eternity. I don't know what I'm talking about. But Braun Strowman's back, everybody. Yeah, that's right.
Apparently he's like Jason.
Apparently he's like T-1000 from Terminator 2, and you dump garbage out of the garbage truck and he forms out of it.
Forms, right. I was like, I was looking at that. I was like, wait a minute. Did he just
rose out of that
transform from garbage?
That's right.
Like, I think he transformed from garbage.
So yeah, if you are a non-wrestling fan, please look it up. It was straight out of a horror movie, The Miztourage, with Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas back in the house after his run-in with the mumps, seemingly getting everybody sick.
Yep.
Got his brother sick, got JoJo sick, Roman Reigns. Bo Dallas single-handedly brought Kurt Angle out of retirement. Way to go, Bo.
It was all Bo.
Wow.
But,
yeah, they... at the pay-per-view, we joked about it. They murdered Braun Strowman. They threw him in the back of a garbage truck and fucking flipped the switch.
They literally committed murder.
On live television. But apparently he was fine because 8 days later, the same garbage truck backed up in front of the Miz's limo.
No.
As he was trying to leave the building.
Not the same garbage truck.
Okay, so he just hitched a ride in another garbage truck?
That was the thing. I was looking at it and I was like, wait, that's not even the same garbage truck.
Right. But you know what? You don't need to pay no attention to the color of the garbage truck.
The color of the garbage truck. Because I'm like, wait, I get it. Okay.
But
they want to put off that he was in a garbage truck for a week.
My question is, Braun Strowman, Undertaker has magic powers, Kane has magic powers, apparently Bray Wyatt has magic powers, Randy Orton, when he's hanging out with the Wyatt family, has magic powers. Braun Strowman does too. You know what his magic power is? He can telekinetically drive vehicles from the back of the vehicle. Think about it. When he was trapped in the ambulance and it wrecked and everything, and he got out. Remember when that ambulance backed up into the building, and he busts out of the ambulance like he returned from his arm injury. You remember that?
Yeah.
Well, he does the same thing with this garbage truck. Nobody was in the garbage truck. The garbage truck just went into reverse and backed in front of Mrs. limo. It then dumped all the garbage out, and he rose like the T-1000 from a mound of garbage. So we asked previously if Braun was like a hobo that just lived in ambulances. Now we know he definitely can live in a garbage truck. If he was stuck in garbage for 8 days, what did he eat?
Garbage.
What did he wash with?
Garbage.
Because he looked fine.
Right.
He didn't look dirty.
So he's been in a garbage can or garbage truck for a week. He's not dirty. His beard is still pretty evenly kempt, even though it's all wild and bushy, but, you know, it still had the line up in the top. Hair was still greasy.
Yeah. Perfect ponytail. You know? And he just went nuts on the
I think he had a different outfit on.
Does Braun own a different outfit? I've seen him. He seems to always wear the same black, tank top and
his camo changes.
Camo
it goes
pants.
From like a green camo to like a mostly brown camo to like the tan. Look like I just pooped myself pants. He switches the pants up a little bit.
Speaking of poop myself, if I was Curtis Axel, I would have pooped myself. With how many times Braun Strowman power slammed his ass in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, that was brutal.
He just destroyed Curtis Axel. He slammed him multiple times. I think the last count was like 5 or 6. And then he drags him out of the ring and he walks him up the ramp, and the Miztourage tries to stop him. He lays them out. And he power slammed the shit out of him through the entrance table. And then he posed. Braun must pose.
Yes. And say,
you know what I have a hard time with? Whenever Braun Strowman is not wearing a shirt, I am mesmerized by the fact that Braun Strowman has pierced nipples.
Wait, what?
Yes.
I've never paid attention that close.
They taunt you.
No.
Pierced nipples, yes.
That is hilarious.
As a matter of fact,
He's going to be like Albert now.
Right. There was a promo that he cut that was on Twitter before TLC. And he was looking down at the camera and he was talking and he didn't have a shirt on. And all that was in the camera was just pierced nipples.
Wow. Yeah, I never noticed that.
Why am I staring at his pierced nipples?
I don't know. Why are you?
Is it my fault? That I'm drawn?
Drawn to Braun?
Drawn to Braun? and his holy areolas?
Wow. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, you get it? You get it? Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah, I said that on a podcast that's going to go out to everybody and they're going to listen to it. Hear me say it.
You should tweet it. Tweet that out right now.
Braun has holy areolas. That was the name of my band in high school.
The Holy Areolas.
The Holy Areolas. What else happened on Raw?
Well, Braun came back. There was like 1 million people that all returned.
Nia came back.
Braun came back. Stephanie McMahon came back.
Stephanie and
Samoa Joe came back.
Samoan Joe.
Samoan Joe's.
We had a friend that for some reason he could never say Samoa Joe.
Yeah, it's always Samoa.
Samoan.
And Cold Stone Steve.
What's up? What's up with Samoan Joe? But then we had another friend that couldn't say Batista.
Yeah.
I don't know if he listens to the show or not. Batista. And he would always talk about, how they were going to reform the nation.
Batista, Samoa Joe, and Cold Stone Steve Austin. We out here serving fools, one scoop at a time. And that's the bottom line, because Cold Stone said so.
Yeah, Stephanie McMahon back on television. Did you miss her?
Stephanie McMahon back to emasculate her general manager.
Back to emasculate just about anybody in the ring. That's my problem with Stephanie McMahon's character. She's awesome. Don't get me wrong. You love to hate Stephanie McMahon. But I hate that she's up in every wrestler's face. She's talking to them like, I'm sorry, I don't care what type of job it is. If you are a boss and you are openly talking to people like that, you will probably lose your job or in the very least be sued.
True.
Okay? The moment you put hands on somebody, I know this is wrestling and we have people, you know, that set fire to things and form out of garbage. And there's
like,
undead
what
wizard.
What kind of sense are you going to try to make out of this
undead wizard
HR problem?
Yeah. And a Bayou warlock and a man who thinks he's a demon. But hey.
But you can't talk down to your employees.
That's right.
That's against the HR policy.
I don't think there is an HR department in WWE.
No, fuck no. At this point, it's just don't hit people in the head with chairs.
Right.
You can pretty much do anything else you want to do.
Choke somebody with a tie and you're fired. But if you're somebody's boss and you want to slap the piss out of them, go right ahead.
Hey, go right ahead. That's fine.
So yeah, she got in Kurt's face because of the Under Siege. Hashtag Under Siege.
Man, if they use that shit one more time.
Hashtag Under Siege. Yeah, because they came in and they laid out the Raw brand. Stephanie was not happy. She told Kurt, you better make this right. Otherwise, if you lose at Survivor Series, you are now the captain of Team Raw. If your team loses, I'm looking for a new GM.
You're fired. I really know her to do that.
No, she doesn't have the high-pitched voice anymore. She's got that husky, I smoke pack and a half of Camels a day voice now.
She got mom voice now.
Right.
The same guy who came down through the crowd and embarrassed and humiliated you and every single superstar standing on that stage. And who let that happen? There's only one person, and that is you.
Yeah, so...
Get him, Hunter!
Yeah, you remember that? Oh, God.
You're fired!
Back in the day, Stephanie on the outside of the ring during a Triple H match was murder to your eardrums. Get him, Hunter! Come on, Hunter! So, Team Raw's going to lose.
For sure.
He's going to lose, and Kurt's going to lose his job, and he's going to be fighting to keep it or trying to get it back. New GM will probably be Triple H. And it's going to lead to Kurt Angle versus Triple H at Mania.
Thinking Mania, huh? Not at the Rumble?
Mania.
They're going to hold off that long for that?
No, they'll probably put Kurt in the Rumble.
Huh.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems like what I would think they would do. I wouldn't think they would fire him that quickly, though. Well, you know, Rob always knows wrestling. But I wouldn't, I don't know. Maybe they won't fire him right away. Maybe he'll keep his job and he'll be on a short leash.
Yeah,
not like the
maybe.
Ellsworth leash. By the
Which
way, is that not
fucking funny?
The fucking creepiest goddamn fucking storyline in the WWE right now?
He's basically her slave.
This is a PG show, and you've got a man, a grown man being led around on a leash and being made to bark like a dog and drink water out of a bowl.
Man, if that was the other way around, holy shit.
Thank you.
PR nightmare. Freaking nightmare it would be. They would have all sorts of petitions and emails and all types of shit. Everything. It would just be hell on earth if that happened.
It would be. I don't know. It creeps me out. Like, it really does.
Were you waiting? You were waiting on the ball to drop there?
I was waiting for you to finish your thought.
I didn't have anything else.
I'm trying harder not to cut you off all the time.
It sounds better when you cut me off.
Does it?
Yeah, it makes for flowing full?
Flowing
Is that even a word?
No.
Flowing full.
Flowing full. It's so flowing full.
Flowing full. It sounds like it should be a word. All right. It makes for a good flowing conversation.
We got a few people that reached out to us and asked, does Cliff have a problem with his microphone?
Why?
Well,
what'd I do?
I have a natural tendency to, like, basically deep throat the microphone. I'm right on top of this fucking thing. Yeah, all up in it. And
jeez.
I get very loud on the recordings. Cliff, on the other hand, holds the mic in his neck of the woods like a normal person. But the problem with Cliff is that if I let him go for too long, he's one of those people that as he's finishing a thought, his voice trails off. So he gets really quiet, but he also starts to lean away from the mic. So people are like, it seems like when Cliff keeps talking for a while, he gets really, really quiet. Like he's.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just part of my, I didn't go to broadcast school,
Did I?
No, but you're a geek. So, there's that.
So, yeah. No, I'm trying harder not to cut you off because I listen to our show. I don't think you listen to our show.
I do listen to our show.
And when I listen to our show, I sometimes feel bad because you're in the middle of a thought and I'm like, so anyways,
yeah, I mean, that's just what you do. White privilege.
Well, hey, got to use that card when I can, son.
99% privilege.
That's right. So what else happened in wrestling this week?
This week in wrestling, well, said my homie Samoa Joe came back in the most throwaway way possible.
But the crowd was damn happy to see him, weren't they?
True.
And what did he do?
He shat on them.
He shat on the crowd.
Took a big old steaming poo on him. Which is like, still, I don't know. I think they just don't get it. They don't get it.
They don't get Samoa Joe.
They don't get Samoa Joe, and I don't think they get just the whole, like, heel face dynamic anymore. Like, I understand that you don't want people to, to be talking shit, and you don't want people to, you want people, I guess they want people to do what they want them to do. So they don't let anything happen organically, which I don't understand.
And by that, you mean the crowd wants Samoa Joe.
Yeah, they want Samoa Joe. Like, they love him. And they're in the back like, no, go out there and cut a promo about how much you hate him.
Tell them that their town stinks.
Yeah, it's like, it's stupid.
Make fun of the
Why?
local sports team.
Right. It's like, I get
Heel
it.
101.
Like, even when it comes to, like, Kevin Owens, I get it. He's technically a natural heel. He's just a fucking jackass. But they love him because he's awesome. So they're like, all right, we know they love you, pal. So
Point out a heavy guy in the crowd and call him fat.
yeah, it's just like, why can't they just be them? Cut promos on the wrestlers. Like, the whole cutting a promo on the town. It doesn't make sense anymore.
It
Like,
works
that
for
was-
Elias, though.
Well, that's because Elias is great at it. That's different. He's like, he couldn't get a cheer if he wanted to. Like,
I cheer for Elias.
that's because you guys suffer from the same speech impediment.
Shut the fuck up.
But
It's
it's
gonna be me,
okay.
Elias, and Randy Orton in a club. Underbiters Anonymous.
Underbiters Anonymous.
I guess it's not anonymous if I said who's in the club, is it? Anyways.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You know what else
But
I
I
noticed?
don't get that. They don't get that with... And then, like, they make the people that are supposed... let me finish my thought on that one.
Oh,
They make the people that
pardon
we
me.
love, they try to turn them, for example, Samoa Joe. They know we love Samoa Joe. They know that we know that he's an amazing wrestler, that he's amazing on the mic, and then they make him cut bullshit promos to say he hates the crowd. Okay, got it. They also know that when someone's a natural heel, like Bobby Roode, we're going to make him a face. When someone's a natural heel, like Sasha Banks, we're going to make her a face. When someone's a natural heel, like Asuka, we're going to make her a face. I'm just like, what? Why? Anyway.
Well, I'm sure in their mind, they're looking at it as if we can establish them this way, they're already strong in this area. If we can establish them in a completely different type of character, when we finally flip the switch, it'll be even more powerful and we'll be able to make more money with them because we'll be able to push them harder because they're already so good at this aspect of it. But the problem is I think they wait too long on that. Now would have been the time to flip Joe. When he came back from the injury, the crowd's hot. They're cheering for him. You could have made a cool, badass face character right there.
Right.
But you didn't. You had him shit on the crowd. Sasha
Same
Banks.
as they could have did with Seth Rollins when he came back from injury.
Right. To me, that would have been an instance where it would have made sense. The crowd was cheering him. Let the cheers run their course for about a month or so, and then flip it. Have them turn on somebody. Sasha Banks, like you said, natural heel. Okay, the crowd's going to cheer her anyways when she's a heel, so it doesn't matter. But Turner, Bailey needs help. Turn her on Bailey.
Right.
No, we're going to leave her a face for a while. Bobby Roode, you had him debut as a face. Why? Because the crowd sings his song. Who cares? The crowd's going to sing his song if he's a heel. Look at Kurt Angle.
Right, just like shit, they sang Fandango's song and hated him.
Right. Look at Kurt Angle. They still do the you suck shit.
Right.
And it kills me every time he fucking comes out and acts like he's happy to hear it. It's a tribute. No, it's fucking dumb. Stop it.
Right. Oh wait, didn't we say we weren't gonna do this anymore?
What?
Shat on the product.
Fuck that. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. It's my goddamn show.
You goddamn right.
If I feel like shitting on something, I'm gonna shit on something. Sorry.
I'm gonna take a big steamer pile of poo on here.
But again, we talked about it last week. To put this into perspective, we are talking about a kid's show.
True. Damn it. I can't keep getting worked up over these things.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
So let's get it out of our system now then. the big news coming out of last week after we recorded the show was there was a bit of a purge in WWE as they cut a few fairly well-known talents. One in particular looked like she was getting a push lately. WWE came to terms to the releases for Darren Young, Summer Rae, and Emma.
Emma.
I know.
I was so waiting on the Aussies to get called up and for them to be a faction.
So let's talk about a couple of these. I guess let's talk about it and say whether or not we think WWE missed the boat or whether those characters had run their course. Okay, let's start with Summer Rae.
All right.
I'll start. I will say, as much as I don't want to see anybody lose their job, she probably needed to go. I just don't see what you do with her in the ring. She's not particularly good. The character, I don't really know what the character was. The character was a bitch. I don't know. I don't know what she was supposed to be. You had something with her and Rusev for a little while there, and then that fizzled out. To me, it would have made more sense to just bring her back as a manager.
Yeah. But who would she manage?
I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's why I say
Jordan.
maybe, fuck, who, whatever. But I don't know what else you could have done with her. Moving her to SmackDown wouldn't have done anything.
No.
The character was about as dead as it could be. Let her go. Let her figure out what she wants to do. From what I hear, she really does truly love the business. And, is one of those people who really studied it and things like that, from what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if you really love it, go to Impact.
Right, go to Impact. Go to Ring of Honor.
Go to Women of Honor. Yeah, go to Shimmer. And hone your craft in the ring, because from what I've seen of you in the ring, I don't really know that you can do what's needed nowadays.
Right.
You were kind of hired in an era where they weren't really looking for wrestlers. They were looking for pretty girls.
Right. And she fit that mold.
Very much so.
But she never really got to the wrestling part. Like, even when it came to, like, certain people like Maurice. Maurice was never the greatest in the ring.
She was a playmate before she came to WWE.
Yeah. But she did end up becoming serviceable, even as Divas champion.
It was more about the character with her.
Yeah. With Summer Rae, you don't really have much to go on. And I'm not gonna say I'm happy for her release. I'm not happy, but I'm not mad about it. I'm just like, yeah, okay. I can understand that. I can understand. The only thing that does suck for that is, like, she was just came back from an injury, and then she had already been sending out tweets like, hey, girls, get ready. Summer Rae's on the way back, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, yeah, we don't have anything for you, so.
Okay, well, speaking of that, we're going to transition to one of the other names released, Darren Young.
Yeah.
Now, they did some hoe shit to Darren Young, okay?
Yeah.
He was out injured. He rehabbed. The pictures I saw of him, he was fucking cut up. I mean, you remember what he looked like before. He was a pretty big guy. He was cut up, waiting for his return. Apparently, last Saturday, he was sent to some sort of, event, like a Be a Star thing, like an anti-bullying campaign. I don't know if it was necessarily that, but something like that, like that WWE had a presence at, and he was sent to be a representative. Next morning, he gets the call saying, hey, we're going to send you home because we're going to fire you. So that's hoe shit. Okay? Now,
very much so.
Say what you want about Darren Young. He was a part of the Nexus. He kind of hung around. The Primetime Players thing happened. They tried to split them up. They tried to do Darren Young on his own. They tried the Primetime Players back together. They split them up again. And then they started doing the whole make Darren Young great again shit with Bob Backlund. Terrible gimmick.
Very terrible.
Terrible gimmick. When all this time, yeah, you don't want to be so on the nose about some of these things, but you know what? They say that, you know, some of the best characters in wrestling are just literally those people cranked up to 11, right?
Yeah.
What is the most well-known thing about Darren Young?
The fact that he's a homosexual.
That he is openly gay, right?
Yep.
Why not take the opportunity in today's WWE/society to have a openly gay wrestler that you do not turn into a heel and use it as an excuse to get the crowd to boo them? Why don't you just make him a guy and talk about the fact that he's gay? Why don't you try to come up with a storyline that plays off of that?
Because it's a kid's show.
Well, who cares? That's the whole point.
I know. That's the whole thing.
What better way to teach kids that it's not okay to bully somebody for being different than by saying, here's Darren Young, and fucking Sin Cara hates him because he's gay.
Well, that's whew. You'll get the PC police all over that one.
You will, but if you turn it into something that's a positive, what's the problem? It's storytelling, right?
True. But it would be, I think it would crash and burn before they even got a chance to pay it off.
Well, it would crash and burn if they do shit like they fucking did with fucking Triple H and Booker T.
Yeah.
You want to play up the whole why aren't more black men world champions? So you have somebody go, people of your kind don't carry this belt. If you do shit like that, you're going to get fucking PC police all over you. You know, if you got people trashing his locker room and spray painting slurs on his walls, you're getting the PC police shoot all over you. But if you can be more subtle about it, you could actually tell a story and make an impact.
True. But hey, speaking of racism, why did only the black people dress up for Halloween on the shows this week?
I didn't notice
New Day. Yeah, New Day coming out as old managers on SmackDown. And then you had Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann, for no apparent reason, dressed up as clowns.
Maybe because the makeup shows up better on darker skin. I don't know.
That's all I'm saying.
We have a rich white man that runs this company, so
yeah. Let's put him in clown outfits, pal.
Look at him.
He likes to dance around. Let's put him in some makeup and
look at him dancing. Get it? We're putting white face on him.
Dance the jig, boy. Dance the jig.
All right. Last person released, and probably the one that makes you scratch your head the most. Well, wait, we didn't really get to finish it. Darren Young, was it right for him to be released? Was it about that time? Was there anything else that could have
Okay, so Darren Young hasn't been on TV for quite some time. He's been in the WWE for quite some time, as you've mentioned. He came in with Nexus, which means he's had the same amount of time as Daniel Bryan. He's had the same amount of time as Husky Harris, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt. He had more time than Ryback. He had more time and more chances than
Justin Gabriel,
than Wade Barrett,
Michael
and
Tarver.
it just Michael Tarver, which I have no whatever happened to him. You know, he just never stuck. Nothing that he did. The primetime players, they were fine. I actually, I liked them for a little while. But him and Titus, I feel like just never really crossed, to where they should have been. His first singles run was still kind of meh. And then the Bob Backlund gimmick was even worse. So it was just one of those things. Like, what else are you going to do? Like, he could have come back again as just a no days off guy again. But I think, like, what you were saying as far as him just getting to be himself. Now, I'm not saying that, him being gay should be part of his gimmick or whatever it is, but you could tell that the guy he was outside of WWE was not the guy that he was portraying in the ring.
Yeah, in the ring, it seemed like he hesitate to say it, but I don't know if I can say it any other way. Like, he was a more like, I don't know, like more generic pro wrestler guy.
Yeah, it was just like, I come to the ring, I wrestle.
I put my arms up like I'm blocking out things, and I say, block out the hate.
Block the hate. Like, where's the hate coming from, Darren?
Why?
That's what my thing was.
Explain it then. Exactly.
Like, there's hate, but where's this hate you speak of?
That's what I'm
Who's
talking
hating
about.
on you?
You had a perfect opportunity to even use that as an example. Explain, block the hate.
Yeah. It was a good message, but it never came to fruition. And then the whole make Darren Young great again thing, it was like, okay, well, Darren Young has never been great.
Yeah,
so
was he ever really?
Was he ever great? No, never. So it's like I said, I don't think it's ever really just the right time to cut somebody from their job, but I'm hoping that he takes this opportunity to, and if he really, really, wants to wrestle and he wants to do something of himself, that he takes the opportunity to go to the indies and, use the name that he's made over the last, 8 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Use that name to keep it pushing, and be a draw and to see what he can come up with on his own. Because that's what the cool thing I like about the indie wrestling scene is that you give these guys an opportunity to not necessarily be themselves, but to come up with something that works for them, what they feel works for them. It doesn't necessarily have to be, this is me turned up. It can be whatever creation that I made that I feel I can do. And so once he comes up with that, maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll end up in TNA. Who knows?
So the final release was the one that made you scratch your head the most. I'm going to go ahead and say it for both of us because I'm sure we're both thinking the exact same thing. Emma being released.
What?
Exactly.
The fuck?
Now, no one knows yet what happened. WWE is in cost-cutting mode, and there's rumors that there could potentially be more people released. But her being released was so shocking because over the last month and a half, she's been focused on character in the Raw women's storylines. Now, say what you want about the storyline for her, it's dumb. She's obsessed with Twitter. and trending. And I created the women's revolution, and they made fun of that fact. But in a way, it's true.
True.
The feud with her and Paige in NXT is what finally got people to notice that, hey, women can actually wrestle. But then she was brought up to the main roster. They didn't know what to do with her. They took the weird character she played in NXT and they cranked it up to 11. They put her with Santino Marella to try to redo this goofy, love thing that they were going to do. It didn't work. She got injured. She was out for a while. They sent her back down to NXT. She remade her character into that whole evil Emma character. They finally brought her up. She got hurt. And then they tried to do that Emelina thing. And for what? Like 3 months? Emelina is coming. Emelina is coming. And she comes out and she basically said, I'm not doing this character on live TV. And disappeared and for another couple weeks and then came back as evil Emma and then they didn't do shit.
Yeah. And then they fed her to Asuka.
They didn't feed her to Asuka.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They fed her technically to Asuka, and then she had a bunch of offense, and it looked like they were actually making her seem pretty relevant, hanging with her. And then the next day, like, you know what? Or the next week, whatever.
Right.
Man,
She has a pretty lengthy match with Asuka at TLC. Gets a lot more offense than everybody expected, to the point to where people were worried. Monday night, same thing, even more offense, and then Asuka wins. And then the end of that week, you're gone. Some believe that maybe she asked for her release, but yet if you look at her Twitter, I don't think so. Which also, speaking of Twitter, led to some shit. Your boy Leo Rush.
Oh, sweet, sweet Leo.
Oh, Buddy Murphy to me had the best tweet. He just responded with, "Oh, Leo."
Yeah, that was. Oh.
So
sweet little Leo.
To talk about Leo, what happened is, Emma was released, and all these WWE wrestlers and even former WWE wrestlers tweeting out, encouragement to her and how sad they are to see her go. And then Leo Rush tweets out, well, I guess this is what happens when you're truly not ready for Asuka.
Yeah.
And
too soon, dude.
The locker room lost their fucking mind on Leo Rush.
Man.
To where he didn't have to, but he chose to. He took it down and he tweeted an apology that he wrote, filled with misspellings and grammatical errors.
Is he, where's he from?
I don't know, but he's 22 years old.
He's 22.
He's 22 years old.
And I'm like, I get it. You're a young kid. You think you're hot shit. And you just don't know better. And
I'm sure in his mind, he thought that it wouldn't have gotten the response that it did.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the benefit. I'm going to give him benefit of doubt and say he thought he was doing the right thing. He thought he was, playing up the storyline. But Leo, when the rest of the locker room is tweeting out encouragement because, they're kind of breaking kayfabe here. They're not playing up the storylines. They're literally like saying goodbye to a friend. And you make a joke about it. Come on. And I don't think the reaction he got should have been the reaction he got. It was a mistake. Maybe somebody, instead of reacting on Twitter, could have just texted the poor guy and said, Leo, take that shit down.
Hey, man, what are you doing?
You know, do you want everybody to get pissed off at you? And instead, they just let him have it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit. See the one that Jack Gallagher went off?
Oh, Jack Gallagher's was the best.
Man.
Instead of apologizing for your joke, you apologize that everybody was upset about your joke. Oh, and by the way, try the English classes at the Performance Center.
At the Performance Center. I'm like, burn. Then Bray Wyatt just like, yeah, you're not going to make it loud, kid. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah, when Bray Wyatt comes out of character and is like, you done fucked up.
Yeah, so it's sad. And I really do. I'm like, oh, he needs a better PR guy. Because he definitely should have at least had somebody spell check that damn letter before he posted it.
But what I thought was good is that William Regal came on Twitter and literally was like, just what I said. Made a mistake, but maybe instead of airing your grievances online, you could have just pulled the kid to the side.
Yeah.
You know? But anyways, we're not talking about him. We're talking about Emma.
Yeah.
Was it right for them to release her?
No. No. Daniel Bryan, no.
If anything, I think that she should have been moved to SmackDown.
Yeah, for
Fresh
sure.
start. You know, get her away from Raw. Get her away from that division and move her over to SmackDown. Fresh start. And if she still flounders, which she really wasn't, you just weren't giving her anything to work with.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Emma is that Emma's great. She's beautiful. She's great in the ring. She's great on the mic. So it's like, why don't you give her something she could actually work with?
And that's part of the issue with WWE that bothers me, is that when they release people because, quote, creative has nothing for you, why is that their fault?
Right? They're like, we just can't think of anything to give you. So
isn't that your job?
Right. So we're going to let you go.
Or we gave you this and you didn't do a very good job of it, so we're just going to let you go. Well, yeah, because you just took a 7-foot tall monster and you tried to turn him into the Keebler elf.
Right.
Maybe instead of trying to reinvent the wheel here, you just go, oh, yeah, this wheel will work, and book to that.
Yeah.
You know, use an example. Matt Morgan. 7 foot tall, jacked, beast, agile. A legit monster.
Let's turn him into a stutterer.
We're going to give him a stuttering gimmick.
What?
Yeah, look at him. He's like, he can't even say words.
He's so big that he can't speak correctly. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Stupid.
Or the worst part would be like when somebody had a gimmick that they used all throughout developmental, and then just as you brought him up, you decided to change it up at the last second.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Now that
they don't really do that much anymore.
That has pissed me off for like anybody that they've used. I won't say anybody because they've kept most of the stuff. But the whole point of people going to NXT is to develop the character. That's why it's called developmental. So once you get that character and it sticks, that's the character that you have been working with for like the last year, 2 years. You've been working it and getting it right. And then you get called up and they're like, hey, remember all that shit you were doing for the last 2 years? Yeah, completely forget all that shit.
Look at the Ascension.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say them.
Their gimmick in NXT was like this weird sort of supernatural, dark, badass team. And then they bring them up to the main roster finally and go, we're going to turn you into the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
You know, look up to reach back again. Remember the Bashams?
Yes.
Okay, Doug Basham, Danny Basham. Danny was Damaja. Doug Basham was Doug Basham, but he was more like, you know, he did wear the leather and stuff like that. Okay, so they were feuding in developmental. And then all of a sudden they're like, we're going to turn you into brothers and make you a team that's into S&M. Go.
Right.
You don't even know if they can tag.
Why?
You don't even know if they have chemistry with each other. You know, like shit like that. That like, and then you wonder why it doesn't work. I don't know. We're kind of going off on a different tangent now, but it's just kind of.
Yeah, that's just kind of what happens. It's how our brains work.
So, I don't know. Are you looking forward to Survivor Series at all?
Yes and no. I'm gonna say yes because you know, I like the thought process of the way that they're doing the matches and you know what you were talking about with the whole you know Raw versus SmackDown blah blah blah. But the only thing that I hate about it is that each week they have to figure out some kind of way to bring together and also divide each roster at the same time, which is dumb. Because you have brand supremacy or brand loyalty, and then you have, oh, well, we're only going to be cool for this week because we want our brand to be better. And it's like, but I hate you. But well, I'm not going to go after your belt right now because I want to prove my brand's better. And it's not going to do anything, but it's still going to be, well, SmackDown's better than Raw. Or Raw's better than SmackDown. Okay. Who cares? Don't you want a belt? There are no belts being defended at Survivor Series. Well, except for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Is it?
And that's stupid. Yeah.
I thought they were doing the tag.
They might be.
The Zo Train versus Team Lucha Lucha.
They'll probably they're doing Enzo versus Kalisto.
Can I say I want team names like they did back in the day, Survivor Series?
Not gonna happen. Don't
call them Team Raw and Team SmackDown. Call them, you know, Angles Olympians versus Shane Psychopaths.
That'd be stupid.
Can't do that?
No, don't do that.
Oh.
Don't do it.
What's up? What did I just brought up Twitter because I wanted to pull up our mailbag. What happened to what happened to Kim?
Kim who?
Our buddy Antisocial Kim.
Oh,
somebody made a fake account and is tweeting shit out.
What?
To make fun of her.
What?
Yeah. We'll get to that after we're done with the show. The fuck's going on? Damn, Kim, sorry. We weren't on watch.
Ridiculous.
You want to hit this mailbag because we got a lot to go through.
Well, we can hit the mailbag, but is there anything you want to say about Survivor Series?
Do I?
I kind of had a rant that I was going to go on, but at this point, it's kind of like it just doesn't matter. I just don't want them to have a whole show and make Survivor Series like bragging rights. Like you suggested it. I think it's stupid. You know, just because it's just like you're basically gonna go a whole basically like 3 to 4 months feels like with like no belts being defended.
Okay, let me tell you why I suggested it was just because it made sense to me. Okay. But here's my problem with what they're doing. You want people to care whether Raw wins or SmackDown wins. But the problem is there's no difference between Raw and SmackDown, aside from the fact that one show is red and it's on Mondays, and the other show is blue and it's on Tuesdays.
Right.
It's still the same flavor of ice cream. If you really want me to care and you want this competition between brands to mean shit, then make them different. You know, make one show more storyline based and make the other one more in-ring based. You know, fucking make it different, but you don't. It's the same thing. So you don't have like you had back in the day where people would say, no, WWF is my home promotion.
Right.
And somebody would say, no, WCW. And then somebody go, no, ECW.
Right. Because those were all three different products.
Exactly. Yes, they were owned by different people, but they're different products. Okay.
I mean, I think it's even the same to say that like WWE, Raw, and SmackDown are different products than NXT.
They
like
are.
Those are
They are.
Those are three different shows. Well, those are two different shows, really.
So
Raw and SmackDown are pretty much the same. NXT is a completely different brand. 205 Live is just an abomination.
So then, to me, that would have made more sense. An all-star team from Raw and SmackDown versus NXT.
Yeah. Now, that would have been something that I would love to see, because that's something to say, hey, we may be the Young Bucks, you know, no pun intended, but we want to prove that we're better than
we're not just
Raw
rookies.
Or SmackDown. We're not rookies, yeah. Like, that's a storyline that I would be able to get behind because it makes sense. But if I'm a champion over here and you're a champion over there, it's like, oh, which one's better? Who cares? You're the same guy.
What if you had Brock versus Jinder versus Drew? You know what I mean?
That would be dope. Now that you see, just you saying that would be dope.
What if you had Dean and Seth versus the Usos versus Sanity?
And you don't even have to give, you don't have to give the NXT guys the win. You can give maybe one of them the win.
Aleister
somebody
Black.
who you think's ready to come up.
Yeah.
But,
Bray Wyatt and company versus Aleister Black and company.
Don't even get me started, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but that's different. That's different. That is, you have people that are brand loyal there.
Yeah.
You have the casual fan is going to be brand loyal to Raw and SmackDown because they watch it every week. Not everybody has the network. When an NXT guy debuts on the main roster, you get the reaction because it is very monkey see, monkey do. Oh, about a quarter of the crowd's going nuts for this guy. Let me cheer too.
Right.
They don't know who they are. A lot of people knew who Asuka was because you were doing vignettes for weeks, and there was a lot of people in the crowd that do watch NXT, but not that much. I don't know. You have brand loyalty with NXT. You don't with Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, because I don't sit there and go, oh, I love Raw, I hate SmackDown.
Yeah.
Only time I did that was when Raw
Heyman
was just putting out a terrible fucking product.
When Heyman had the book on SmackDown.
Yeah, when Heyman had the book and they had the SmackDown 6, 7, 8, whatever it was.
SmackDown 6.
That was when,
The SmackDown 6.
6?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
It was Los Guerreros, Edge, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, and Chris Benoit.
Yeah. And and that was like
because
each week
it
you
was
knew that
booked
you were going to see
differently.
incredible matches with those 6 guys in it every week. And then it ended up becoming, you start adding a couple people to it. And it was just like, those were the people that you wanted to see.
On one show, you had storylines like Katie Vick, and on the other show, you had storylines like we just talked about, the 3-way tag title feud.
Man.
Tajiri, shit like that in the mix.
But ever since they started the whole brand extension thing, I get like they want to make us be brand loyal, but they don't want us to be brand loyal.
Right.
Because if it got to a point to where, SmackDown was drawing a 4 and Raw was drawing a 2,
they're going to make Raw just like
pants.
SmackDown.
Yeah.
Or they're going to take the big stars from SmackDown and move them to Raw.
Right. So it's almost pointless. Like I could see if they just had one, if they had the one match, they had the one Raw versus SmackDown match, I'd be okay with it. But to make the whole pay-per-view bragging rights, I just think it's dumb. And then after that, if they're going to do the same thing, there's cruiserweights on SmackDown. Why not have a fucking Raw cruiserweights versus SmackDown cruiserweights? If they're going to do it that way, that would be something that would actually be interesting because technically SmackDown doesn't have a cruiserweight division.
All right. We got a huge mailbag and we're already an hour in. We got to get these out of the way, and I feel like this mailbag is going to get us talking. So,
oh, Lord.
You ready?
I guess
I'm excited for this mailbag. I saw these questions. I'm looking forward to this.
Yep. I bet you did see the questions.
So, what are we about to do?
Mailbag!
There we go. That's what I was waiting on.
Hey, you don't set me up. I know when to come in, damn it.
You
shut your mouth.
Are you trying to start some shit on Mike right now?
Do you want to go?
Do I want to go?
Do you want to go?
You know how long I've been waiting to punch you in the motherfucking face?
You want to go?
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
Let's do this. When you coming up to Michigan? Because I ain't bringing my ass down to Atlanta.
Why not? Because you're a terrible friend? Stumped you there, huh, buddy?
All right. Grade in Cliffs. This comes from our boy RJ. Grade in Cliffs, certain wrestlers in WWE. Okay. RJ was confused as to what the Cliff scale was. And I kind of was like, RJ, come on, buddy. All right, so I'm just going to rattle out some wrestlers. You tell me how many Cliffs you give that wrestler. All right, let's start with Cedric Alexander.
Cedric Alexander, today he gets 2.5 Cliffs.
Okay. Curtis Axel.
Curtis Axel, 2 Cliffs.
The Miz.
The Miz, I give 4 Cliffs.
Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode, today, I mean, Bobby Roode is still pretty awesome, but they kind of saddled him with this shitty feud with Dolph Ziggler, and they made him a face again. So I'm gonna give him 3.5 Cliffs.
Jinder Mahal.
No Cliffs.
What?
0 Cliffs.
Jinder Mahal's theme song.
5 Cliffs. Actually, no, I take that back. Take that back. I'm gonna give Jinder 3 Cliffs right now.
What? You're insane. The only thing I would give fucking Cliffs to about Jinder Mahal is that goddamn theme song, bitch.
Nah, bro.
What?
He's been I've been back and forth on this whole Jinder Mahal thing, right? I hated it, and then I was cool with it, and then I loathed it during the shitty Randy Orton matches, and I hated it even more during the Shinsuke Nakamura matches. But I'm coming back around with this Brock Lesnar thing.
Okay. I am going to cut you off.
See? Because you're rude.
I don't want to hear any more about Jinder Mahal. And I am going to rate you 1.5 cliffs on your answering of this question because this is bullshit and we're moving on.
Hey.
Speaking of bullshit.
I'm just anxious to see where they go with it.
Speaking of bullshit, let's get to Matt from the Gimmick Table. I would plug the Gimmick Table and say that they have a great show where they interview independent wrestlers, but they're only going to be as good as they can be right now until we start interviewing independent wrestlers again, to which we will obviously do much better. If you even care to follow Gimmick Table on Twitter, you can do so at gimmick_table. If you want to look for them on Facebook, you can. I would recommend you do not. But anyways, Matt's question from the Gimmick Table was, how does Cliff run an amazing one-man show?
Come on, now.
I'll answer this question. He runs a one-man show in his home when he talks to himself in the mirror. But when he's on my motherfucking show, I'm the boss.
You're the boss.
End quote.
Oh, Robbie Danza over here. Oh, I'll tell you how.
You got an answer for that, Cliff?
With grace and eloquence.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Because I'm fucking awesome.
Fuck you. And fuck Matt at the Gimmick Table.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
No.
There's so much anger.
The last few weeks, Matt's
much
been talking
anger.
shit on his show.
I wish I had a vial so I can scoop up your white tears.
He tries to make fun of me on his show. And I guess on this week's show, he's going to do it again. He just tried to warn me about it. Fuck you, Matt. How about that?
Rob, you have so many haters.
I have so many haters. That must mean I'm doing something right.
Some would say you'd have a cup of haters.
Fuck you. We'll get to that in a minute. That's what we're going to close on.
I'm down. Because you know I got them. I'm ready to unload, son.
All right. Our buddies over at the Useless Debates Podcast. Follow them on Twitter at UDPC Podcast. Give their show a listen. Good guys, good show. Their question, and I like this one. If all candy had a battle royal, which is the candy left? Which is the candy left in the ring?
Wow.
So which candy would? I mean, you could go with.
Which candy would reign supreme in a battle royal? Well, I'll tell you, the first candy eliminated. It's going to be a double elimination. Candy corn and black licorice.
There you go.
Actually, as a matter of fact, they get beat down on the way to the ring, and they never even get into the match. They are replaced by Mounds and Almond Joy, which I also hate, but not as much as I hate black licorice and candy corn.
Yeah, because Mounds and Almond Joy don't taste like asshole.
True. They taste like they have been cleaned up from an asshole. I'm gonna go with the all-time favorite, brother, Reese's.
Reese's would be the last candy standing?
For sure.
I'm having a hard time with this one. I will say that my final four in the ring would be the whatchamacallit, Caramel Twix. Ooh.
Snickers.
Milky Way and Snickers.
Yeah, I would say that, but I would have to take the whatchamacallit out and put in the Reese's. And then it'll go down to Reese's versus Snickers. And then I would give them, it would probably be like a Reese's gets thrown out like Shawn Michaels. And then Snickers stinks that he won. And then Reese's comes back in and eliminates Snickers.
And then Reese's didn't realize that Milky Way got tossed out under the bottom rope and he's been stalling this whole time and he comes in and dumps out the Reese's. And your winner is Milky Way.
No.
Moving on to the next question.
Oh, we did that.
Oh, we did that. Yep.
We did that.
We booked a Candy Battle Royal. How about that?
Right.
Leo Mainville III from the S Marks the Spot podcast. I see what you're up to here, Leo, with his question. I heard of this podcast in the PWO called S Marks the Spot or at Smark Spot. What are your overall thoughts on these two bearded buttes? He is, of course, talking about himself and his co-host, Joshua Brown. What do I think of those two bearded buttes? Some dead sexy voices going on in that show. The Positive Show. If you hate us, you will probably love their show. They're good guys. That's what I think. And I think you should go there, give their show a listen if you are a wrestling fan.
I think of National Public Radio.
Why?
Because their voices are so smooth.
Leo's got a smooth voice, doesn't he?
It's just like, it's like listening to, come on and have a great time today with Leo and Josh at S Marks the Spot.
Leo, sometimes when I hear your voice, I get a little tingle. That's what I'm trying to say.
Rose a little bit.
Just a little blood flow. Oh, Cliff, are you ready for this question?
I am ready.
Fred Robinson at FRobin85 on Twitter.
I don't want to answer this question.
Too late. I heard about a great podcast called the Wretched Wrestling Podcast. How do you feel about these sexy beasts? I just want to get a little water in there.
Moist.
What do I think about these sexy beasts? Well, Fred, let me put it this way. You guys are often on Periscope, which means I get to look at you every week if I decide to watch your show. And I know that come Survivor Series, we're going to be sitting down face to face, and I'm going to have to look at you again because you'll be on Periscope again while we're doing our joint show. What do I think of these sexy beasts? Well, for one, I do question whether or not Craig sits on a phone book.
Shut up, little man.
Because I know he's vertically challenged. I believe on a recent episode of theirs, Craig said that he's 5'6". I think he's given himself a couple extra inches on that. And yes, I know that that can be used in a couple ways. Fred, what do I think of Fred? Fred looks like Jon Favreau on a really, 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 really bad Coke binge. And I think that if they spent more time talking about wrestling and not about other podcasts and his trysts with men in drag, they might have a good show. That's what I think of their show. Do you have anything to add, Cliff?
Is there a cricket emoji?
No.
Well,
But if you'd like, you can go ahead and drop that sound effect right now.
Yep.
There you go. Hey, Fred, you asked for us to answer. See you at Survivor Series, bitch.
With your punk ass.
They did say on their most recent show they were going to try not to make any racist jokes. Cliff, do you have anything to say about that?
I know where you live.
So does somebody else. Oh.
Inside joke.
Guys, I swear to you again, we had nothing to do with that. Swear to you. Swear to you. All joking aside, in seriousness, we had nothing to do with that. With your accidental, unplanned house guest that tried to show up. Moving on.
Oh, man. We're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's the story of my life. All right, moving on. Next question. Our buddies over at the Sci-Fi Drive-In podcast. This mailbag is pretty much just going to be shout out to all of our podcast friends.
I'm like, geez, how many fucking we get 3 questions a week, and now this week everybody wants to jump on the teat. What the fuck?
That's all right. I'm fine with it.
I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. But
right.
geez,
I'm happy with questions. I don't care who they come from.
I think I'm just overwhelmed at this point.
All right. Sci-Fi Drive-In podcast. Another very fun podcast. Which pretty much, if you just heard me say the title, you know what the show is about. They pick 2 sci-fi movies, and they do like a double feature and talk about it on their show. Fun show. Give them a listen. Follow them on Twitter at SFDFDI Podcast. Their question, most missed wrestler from the Attitude Era.
Ooh. Most missed wrestler from the Attitude Era.
How about this? I'm going to throw a rule on you for your answer. Do not pick Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock.
Damn it. But Stone Cold is who I miss.
I know. I do too, but make it interesting.
All right. You don't want an old generic podcast. We're gonna answer these questions and let you know that we got some knowledge. All right? We actually know our wrestlers from back in that there era. All right. I'm gonna go with D'Lo Brown.
You motherfucker, you stole my All right. My most missed wrestler from the Attitude Era. Val Venus.
Really?
Val Venus. He was always solid in the ring. I'm a sucker for, double entendre jokes. And that's pretty much what his gimmick was.
Well,
and I love porn.
That would be a great reason. So, yeah.
Oh, here's another good question from another podcast friend of ours. The Kung Fu Drive-In podcast. Follow them on Twitter at Kung Fu Drive-In. Once again, title of the podcast tells you everything about this show. It's a show about
Wu-Tang? I get it, but the drive-in, is that like a common theme for podcasts?
No, I just think we happen to bump into 2 podcast questions here back to back that have drive-in in their name.
Huh. All right. Touche.
But yeah, my boy recently had Don the Dragon Wilson on his show.
Dope.
Yes. All right. Okay. It was awesome. I'm waiting for fucking. Can we get Cynthia Rothrock on there? Unless he's already had her on.
That'd be awesome.
That was my girl back in the day.
I used to love her.
All right. This is a fun question right here. If you could only pick your entrance music from Taylor Swift, Britney Spears, or Justin Bieber, who would you choose and which song?
Ooh. um. Oh. I don't really know any Taylor Swift songs.
Sadly, I have a daughter who's obsessed with Taylor Swift, so I know.
So you probably do. Yeah. I'm not a TS fan. Unless it's Terror Squad. The only TS that I fuck with.
Terror Squad.
That's right.
Big pun reference, everybody.
Damn right.
I don't want to be a player no more.
I ain't a player, I'll just crush a lot.
You got to get up in the mic like EPMD style.
You know what I'm saying? I just like. I think I was going Biggie.
Yeah, that's Biggie. That's not Big
I was
Pun.
going Biggie. Oh.
When I was talking about EPMD style, I'm talking about like you're breathing through your nose because your mouth, because it sounds like your nose is all plugged up.
Dang, that's a tough one. But I'd probably go with I'm gonna go with Britney on this one.
And which song?
Toxic.
Toxic.
Yeah.
For a minute, I thought you were gonna go. Oops, I did it again.
Nah, bruh.
All right, I'm gonna go. Oh man. Oh. I would love to say Justin Bieber, but you know he has about as many hard sounding songs as a nursery rhyme. So I'll go Taylor Swift. And what's the song that's out right now on the radio that I fucking hate?
Couldn't tell you.
Look What You Made Me Do. That's the song I'll
Never
pick.
heard it.
Yeah, I'll pick that one. And that'll be my gimmick. I'll just beat the shit out of everybody and get on the mic and go, now look what you made me do.
Look what you made me do.
The Besotted Geek podcast. At Besotted Geek Pod, another awesome show, geek culture show. We talked about them last week. They had a question. Give them a listen. Their question: favorite wrestler when you were a kid?
Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior was your favorite?
Yep. Like when I was a kid? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll say kid.
Yeah.
Mine was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Ricky was one of my favorites.
Ricky was dope.
But
Ricky liked to act like he was a ninja, and then for a little while, he actually acted like he was a full dragon with wings, and he would spit fire in the ring.
And shit. Yeah, it was awesome.
But Ricky was dope, and I loved Ricky. And there's a picture of me floating around holding a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat sign that I made and took me to WrestleMania 3. Yes, I said WrestleMania 3. If I was old enough to go to WrestleMania 3.
Yeah. Because he's 49 years old.
Not 49 years old. Fuck you in the face. How about that? Our boys over at the Home Video Hustle.
What up, though?
At capital H, capital V, capital H, capital P, lowercase Oddcast. If you were a wrestler, what's your name and what's your gimmick?
Huh. Well, seeing as how I've already had insert wrestler name here, that's a tough one. It's tough because it's, well, you know, back when I was young and dumb, it would just be Big Red.
Mm-hmm.
And I would come out and my gimmick would be Flippy.
Yeah, you were going to be a spot monkey.
I'd be a spot monkey for sure. I'd probably be, in this day and age, I'd probably be close to a Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho Y2J when he first debuted. Just kind of a snarky asshole. Mixed in with a little Rey Mysterio. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I'd go with that.
I'll try to do the same thing you did there. Back in the day when I was younger, my gimmick would have just played off of who I was. And as Cliff will tell you, I have a little bit of an anger management issue. You hear the jokes and everything on the show, folks. That's not really me. I've gotten a lot better as I've gotten older because some shit you just don't need to throw a fit about. But I've always had a bit of an anger management issue. I was always ready to fight no matter what. I can't think of what my name would have been back in the day. It would have definitely had something to do with anger. Probably angry, make anger face. Or Robbie Rage.
Robbie Rage. I was waiting on it.
Yeah.
My name would have been Taserface.
Taserface, there you go. There was a time when we were younger that Cliff and I would often joke that we were going to go train to be wrestlers and be a tag team and call ourselves Sex and Violence.
Sex and Violence. I, of course, was the sex.
And I, of course, was the violence. Nowadays, I would probably be, I don't know. I would definitely be somebody who was probably better on the mic than I was in the ring. I would probably be fine being somebody's manager. I'd be Paul Heyman. I'd be the bald guy that hyped up the superstar.
If it was today?
No, if it was today.
I'd be Enzo.
I know you would, you fucking asshole.
I come out with my ripped up shorts and my ripped up jeans, wearing J's with a fucking mohawk. Yeah, I'd totally be Enzo. A bunch of chains on. Yeah.
Now, what I feel
Except I'd be able to wrestle.
I'd
be Enzo with Daniel Bryan wrestling ability.
There was a missed opportunity with Cliff and I. Legit, if we would have trained to be wrestlers. Cliff and I, joking around one night, messing around on one of the wrestling games that I had, came up with a tag team that I feel like there was a missed opportunity that we never got to be this team. I would have been known as Dirty Cash Willie Turner.
Mad Loot Jimmy Reed.
That's right, Mad Loot Jimmy Reed and Dirty Cash Willie Turner, a.k.a. the Cash Money Crew. I would have been... imagine if you know who he is, white dude Riff Raff. Just over the top cultural appropriation. Cliff would have been something like what's his name in NXT? The Street Profits.
Like the Street Profits?
Yes.
The White Street Profit?
The White Street Profits. There you go. Well, you're not white. You're not white, but no, yeah, it would have been. Cliff would have been coming to the ring with the red Solo cup.
Right.
There was a missed opportunity.
Lean on the way to the ring.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man, Cash Money Crew.
Cash Money Crew. Superiority Complex podcast at Soup Complex.
There's more questions.
There are more questions. Get used to it, fucker.
Holy shit.
All right.
You got two more questions.
Oh, no, we got more than that. You shut your fucking mouth. How
I'm
about
hanging
that?
up. I'm hanging up.
Superiority Complex. Give them a follow at Soup Complex. And yeah, that is soup spelled like the soup that you eat. Best acting job by a former wrestler. We kind of had a similar question to this
Didn't
last
we answer
week.
this question?
No, it was similar, but it wasn't the same. So best acting job by a former wrestler.
All right. I'm going to go with Tiny Zeus Lister as Debo in the Friday series.
It's my chain, punk.
Yeah. Even though technically he was an actor first, then he became a wrestler, but then he became an actor again. I'm gonna go with Debo.
Okay. I'm gonna go with. See, I'm already getting emotional thinking about this scene.
Oh no.
In a triumph of cinematic achievement known as No Holds Barred, there is a highly emotional scene in which the main character of Rip, played by one Terry Bollea, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan, finds his brother in a hospital bed after Zeus put a hurting on him. It doesn't look like his brother's going to be able to walk anymore. And Rip gets down next to his bed, and he holds his brother's hand, and he gives one of these performances that still to this day gets that ball in my throat, that choked up. As Hulk Hogan, through his tears, talks about how much he loves his brother. he told him, I love you. He did. He told him, he did, I love you. And he cried. It's so good. It's so good. I love you. I love you. I love you, Cliff. You're my best friend. I love you.
I love you, man.
That was the best performance by a wrestler.
Amazing.
The worst performance by a wrestler.
Oh shit! The worst performance by a wrestler.
Ever by a wrestler.
Insert anything that Randy Orton has done.
I was gonna say 12. What was that? 12 rounds 2?
Yeah.
The Condemned 2?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, speaking of, you know what? I thought Stone Cold did really, really good. I thought he was on his way to being like the next action guy.
I liked him in The Condemned.
Fizzled. Yeah.
Granted, he was playing Stone Cold, but
yeah, but it worked.
Right. My worst performance by a wrestler. Pick anyone in the movie Ready to Rumble.
True. True.
If I have to pick one, I will go with Sid Vicious. His portrayal of Sid Vicious in Royal Ready to Rumble was awful. Or Perry Saturn. His portrayal of Perry Saturn in Ready to Rumble was the drizzling shits.
Oh, man.
Our boy Bruce coming through with a question. And he recently changed his Twitter handle to Bruce, Ragnarok. Give our buddy Bruce a follow at Twitter, please. You will not be disappointed. Bruce is amazing. @ my name is Bruce. Which faction, any era, any promotion, do you see yourself fitting in with the best?
Ooh. Triple Threat ECW.
Oh, you motherfucker. I had that one in my back pocket thinking that I was going to pull that one out, and you fucking stole it. I swear to God. That's why we're best friends, buddy. Right,
Did we just become best friends?
Yep. I got to pick another one. All right.
That's awesome.
Fuck. The faction I probably would fit in best with.
Actually, I take it back. I'm going to go with The Brood.
Because you're into goth and
No, I just wanted to say that.
you just wanted to come out to that badass theme song.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? No Limit Soldiers.
Oh, Hooty Hoo.
And I would come out on top of Big Swole's shoulders.
Yes, Big Swole in the house. Oh my God. Hooty Hoo.
Yep, Hooty Hoo. No Limit Soldier.
Oh, come on. All right, now we got to take a detour here and talk about the No Limit Soldiers. I can't let that go. You had a faction in WCW, a promotion based in the Deep South, and you thought that in a promotion where the fan base was predominantly hillbillies into NASCAR and country music, that Master P was going to be the babyface.
Man.
You had Master P. You had Big Swole.
Big Swole.
Big Swole. You had B.A. Yes, Brad Armstrong. Fucking white boy from Georgia. Who was probably 40 at the time. You put him in No Limit Soldiers. You had, you remember 4x4? I don't think he ever wrestled.
4x4.
But he was all
God.
upper body. He had like, I don't even know how he wiped his own ass. His arms were so big. I don't even know if he wrestled. And then I want to say there was another guy. I want to say it was Chase something.
Chase Tatum.
Chase Tatum. There you go. Another white boy. Fuck.
That was funny. The No Limit Soldiers. All right. Pick your faction, fucker.
My faction. I will go with. Boy. I don't know. Sounds like a cop-out, but I'm going to be honest. I feel like I would fit in well with the Four Horsemen.
Why?
Because I am loyal to my friends. I will have their back no matter what. Ready to just fucking roll on somebody if I have to. I don't know if you know this about me, people listening to this show, but I am an extremely cocky individual.
You? No.
And if you were in the Four Horsemen, you had to be. I would not be somebody who would be, if I am a professional wrestler, I'm going to look the part. And by that, I don't mean I'm wearing Zubaz and tank tops to the ring. I'm fucking dressing up in a suit, bitch. And it's going to be tailor-made. I'm going to look fly on my way to the ring. That's what I'm going to do.
With your gator boots on.
That's right. So that is the faction I would pick. I don't know what role I would play in the Four Horsemen, but that is who I would go with.
Which iteration of the Four Horsemen?
I'm gonna go original. I'm gonna go Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. Actually, I will not go original. I will go the Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Barry Windham version. And I will replace Tully.
Huh.
I will be the fucking cocky ass dude who's just fine being the TV champ. I don't have to be Rick. I'll be fine being that guy. But eventually I will overtake him.
All right.
Because I can't go not being in charge.
Fucking terrible.
Home Video Hustle with another question. What can Impact do to get you to start watching on a weekly basis again?
Live sex shows. That's literally it. It's the only thing.
Here's the thing, boy. Boy, do I want to watch Impact. I really do. But I can't. Whenever I watch, I get frustrated watching it. I don't know why. I really think that it's bias coming in from the reputation that's already there. If I am going to watch Impact again, I want to know that Impact is going to be there in a few months. I really don't feel like it will be. I want to know that if I get into a storyline or a wrestler, that they're not going to be gone in 6 weeks because they can't afford their contract anymore. I want to know that if they have a show nearby me, that I'm going to go and more than 12 people are going to be there. I want to know that there's going to be something that's going to reward me for being loyal to the brand. And I don't feel like there is. So I don't really know if there's anything right now at this moment that they can do to get me to watch on a weekly basis, aside from fixing those things.
Aside from live sex shows. If they could do that, I'd be a weekly subscriber. I'd get the network for that. Or whatever they're calling it.
Global Wrestling Network?
Global Wrestling Network. There you go. I'd subscribe to that.
Chris Richardson, friend of the show, and
dude, you got one more question, bro.
I got more than one question. You shut the fuck up.
I'm cutting you.
Stop being a bitch. Stop being a bitch.
I'm cutting you off.
Chris Richardson asks, better show, The Flash or Arrow?
Ooh, right now? Last season, I'm going to go with Arrow.
Okay.
Because that season with Prometheus had,
Prometheus storyline was dope.
It had a lovely beginning, middle, and end. I did also like the story with Savitar on the Flash, but it just took too. Once you start adding all the time jumps and all the craziness that that you have to fix basically from fucking up the timeline, it just gets a little bit too convoluted. And I thought that Arrow was very much streamlined, and I liked it up until that point. Leading into this season of both shows, I haven't watched the most recent episode of Arrow because it came on today, but out of the first 3 episodes that I've seen of each season, 3 or 4, whatever it's been at this point, I would have to give the slight edge also to Arrow, because I feel like there's more consequential stuff in Arrow. It makes it feels more like the characters have to suffer and they're going through things. And I think the Flash just kind of leads you on too much at this point. But I still love both shows.
I'm going to agree. Last season, I liked Arrow better than Flash, although I do love both shows. Flash, it's bothering me because every season the big bad is a speedster, and that I just wish they'd do something different.
But this season is not.
Okay, well then don't spoil it for me because I haven't watched any of the episodes yet. They're all on my DVD.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this season
same thing with Arrow.
No speedster baddie.
I got to get caught up. But Arrow, I loved the Prometheus season. I thought that was really well done. Overall, though, as far as the show goes, I'm going to go with I like Flash better because I like that Flash is not afraid to be goofy. I like that Flash is a little bit more lighthearted. Although I really do like Arrow and how serious it can get. And like you said, there's more consequences to what happens. But
yeah,
I do like the kind of semi-hokey comic book-esque feel of Flash at times.
That I do. I do enjoy that. I do when enjoy when they have the goofy characters and stuff like they did when they brought Mark Hamill on to be the trickster and
Right.
you know, whoever I forgot the one guy from the future who came back, the shit. Forgot his name, but anyway. Yeah. And they actually just did something on yesterday's episode that you'll probably like with the elongated man. I thought that
Oh,
episode was pretty
nice.
cool. Yeah.
Nice.
So I like how they give a lot of nods to the comic book. I mean, even if you saw the first episode of this season, which you haven't, but this isn't a spoiler or anything. It's just like they take basically a panel from one of the comics from back in the day, and you could like just tell like they recreated it in this show. And it's just like, oh, that's fucking cool. Just from being a fan of the comic and knowing like that cover, it was really cool. And they do a lot more subtle nods to comic stuff. Although, this season of Arrow, and maybe Robb, you might want to cover your ears, but to our listeners here, this season of Arrow, they did name drop Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne exists in the Arrowverse. Cool.
All right, cool.
Bro, how many more questions, like, for real?
3.
Oh, my God.
These are fairly quick questions, though. Except for
right.
one. One we might
This is the lightning
snowball.
round. And go.
If you could go back, this is from the Brocast podcast, our buddies, PWO members, Brocast. Follow them on Twitter at the Brocast, and that is with a K, not a C. Because
BROCKASS.
Brocast.
The Brocast.
Not Brocast. Not the Broke Ass podcast, the Brocast. Because as they say on the gimmick table, the C doesn't exist in the Australian alphabet. If you could go back, which major WCW star would you have added to the WCW invasion in 2001?
Goldberg.
Oh, good one. I'm going to say Sting.
Yep. Because Goldberg was WCW at that point. And, yeah, Sting was too.
Sting is WCW.
Yeah.
And if you were going to have somebody go face-to-face with WWF, you could have had Booker T run out and attack everybody. You could have Goldberg attack everybody. But then Sting is the last guy to show up. And he is now the team captain of WCW.
Yes, for sure. And then closely behind the NWO.
Okay. S Marks the Spot podcast. Favorite character in Stranger Things?
Oh, I'm going to go with the 2017 reincarnation of Chunk. Dustin.
Dustin, it's the boy with the teeth, right?
With the teeth, yeah.
I haven't watched.
He's got new teeth in this season.
I haven't watched season 2 yet.
Oh, sorry.
Life has, been throwing me a curveball the last week.
I've only watched the first 3 episodes, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I 100% plan to watch it. I hope to binge it this weekend. But we'll see. My favorite character, just going on the first season, is only because I felt a kinship with this character. Maybe because we're we're about the same age. I'm gonna go with the sheriff guy. What's his name? Oh, why can I not remember his name?
Because you're freaking shit.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Damn it! I thought I was gonna get through the fucking whole thing.
Oh.
Oh,
we
damn
can't
it.
go
right,
one
okay.
fucking show.
So to our listeners, I just would like to put it out there that I am not doing this on purpose. This is not like a, hey man, let's drop a slur so that we can talk about it on the podcast. I swear to God, I'm not doing that shit on purpose. It's just part of my stupid vocabulary, and I'm trying to not say it anymore. I really am. I swear I am. I'm going to bleep it again. But, yeah. So, what is his name?
Chief
Hopper?
Hopper. Chief Hopper.
Hopper. Yes. There you go.
That's who is probably my favorite character. And then final question from the Useless Debates podcast. And this one could get interesting. All right.
Not over here.
You killed me with that one.
Yes.
All right.
The answer is yes.
Which world leader, past or present, would make the best wrestler?
What the fuck? Oh.
Okay.
Define world leader. Is it like, does he have to be like a president or a czar or
Yes, world leader.
the best wrestler?
The best wrestler. Okay, I'm gonna get. Okay, a lot of people liked the fact that I got so analytical with which wrestlers would I make out with last week. So I am going to
let
do
me
that
answer
on this
first,
one.
so
Okay,
you
go
can
ahead.
just bat clean up here.
Go ahead.
All right. This is probably going to be a terrible answer. However, and not terrible as in it's a bad answer, just terrible either way. I'm going to go with Hitler
Oh my God!
because he's a natural heel.
You think?
However, he is very influential. He's great on the mic, and he would probably lead an NWO like stable.
Oh, you're killing me right now.
I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. So
It didn't have to be a politically correct answer, but in this day and age, yeah, Hitler.
So I'm going to stick with U.S. presidents, okay? And my reason for that is just because of what knowledge base I already have of them. I would love to do like you did, pull Hitler. Of course, everybody knows about Hitler, but I don't know enough about other world leaders, aside from the big name ones, to use any of those. So I'm going to stick with U.S. presidents. And then as far as answering the question, I guess it depends on what type of wrestler you're talking about. Are you talking about one that can capture the attention of the audience? Are you talking about one that's better in the ring? Are you talking character-wise? Are you talking on the mic? So I have a few that I would pick, but I'm going to pick one as my final answer, okay? So if you're talking about in the ring, and like as far as like a specimen in the ring and one that could probably do things that like a normal old school wrestler can do, I'd say Teddy Roosevelt. You know, you're talking about this big burly guy, man's man. Stories of him swimming naked in, things like that. If you're talking somebody who could capture the attention of an audience on a charisma level, like The Rock, you're going to go Barack Obama.
Barack says.
Because as far as on a mic, nobody could touch the guy. Okay? Say what you want about whether or not you are a fan of his, whatever. But much like The Rock, people loved him. But people also hated him because of who he was. Kind of like Barack Obama. Whether it be you just don't like the black man's in charge, whatever. Maybe that's a hot take on my part, but hey, I'm going to say it. It's my fucking show. If you don't like it, don't listen. If you're talking about, say, like a manager, somebody who could talk their way out of trouble, somebody who could just kind of, on the mic, get the people to just kind of go with whatever he wants, like a Paul Heyman, then you're talking Bill Clinton.
Yep.
But if you're talking about the kind of wrestler that is going to polarize an audience, people are going to hate him. Those that love him are going to cheer him and be devoted to him. There's only one world leader, to me, that would be a natural fit as a pro wrestler. A natural heel. And not only has he been in a WWE ring, but the motherfucker's in the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm going to go with our current president, Donald Trump.
Boo that answer. No.
Boo that answer.
No, actually makes tons of sense.
I'm sure he would suck ass in the ring.
He'd be the worst.
I'm sure his promos would be a mess. They'd be very Ultimate Warrior like, in that they don't make fucking sense because he can't finish a fucking sentence. And he would have the crowd hating him, but those that love him would be all on his nuts.
Oh, man.
So my pick, final answer.
He'd be John Cena?
He'd be John Cena. Donald Trump is John Cena. Or Roman Reigns. Take your pick.
Or Roman. But hey, wait. So, back to my Hitler thing.
Oh, really?
No, but just think about it. He had catchphrases.
What the fuck?
And hand signals. So just close your eyes for a moment. Look at Matt Hardy.
No.
And then put Hitler right there.
Stop
He'd
it.
He'd probably be the most over wrestler in the history of the
over?
company.
You're crazy. We teased something on Twitter earlier, and we need to have it out. And this is what we're going to close on today. I sent out a link to a story about how awesome Drew Gulak was on Monday Night Raw with his promo with Enzo. I've not ever really seen that side of Drew Gulak before, but this whole, no-fly zone, kind of take on a odd conservative man, but gearing it towards making the cruiserweight division great again. Just kind of an over-the-top nerdy white guy. I fucking love it. Okay? And his promo on Monday where he did the whole soft thing that Enzo Amore always does, but as Enzo always misspells it, of course, Drew Gulak would not do that. He would spell it correctly.
S-O-F-T. Soft.
And he gave the most over-the-top white guy thumbs up after he did it, too. I think it's fantastic. However, my co-host thinks that only one man deserves the credit, and it's not Drew Gulak. It's Enzo Amore.
You're damn right.
So you think that Enzo is the only reason why somebody like a Drew Gulak, why the cruiserweights are starting to get a little bit more attention, you put it on Enzo?
Yes.
Why do you love Enzo Amore so much?
It's not that I love Enzo Amore so much. I just think that, first of all, he's just funny.
You don't think
Sometimes
that it's old now?
He comes out and he says really corny shit. When you talk for too long, you say corny shit.
Fuck you.
It's just part of it. We have a 2-hour show, 30 minutes of it. You could probably just tune right on out. But in reality, though, we did not. I don't even think we've mentioned Drew Gulak's name on this show ever until today. And it's only because Enzo Amore is putting a spotlight on the cruiserweight division. Drew Gulak wasn't even giving promos on Monday Night Raw. He was only doing his shit on 205 Live. So the fact that Enzo is bringing a spotlight to the cruiserweight division and the fact that these guys are able to show a little bit more personality, I think is giving them the opportunity to shine a little bit more. Now, I'm not saying that Drew Gulak himself and his character is because of Enzo. No. I'm saying that Enzo's presence is what's allowing people to start to be able to see Drew Gulak more and to actually pay attention to him. Because I've seen a few of his 205 Live things, and I think that the whole PowerPoint thing has been pretty funny. I watched 205 Live earlier today, and I thought that it was pretty funny. But the promo that he cut on Raw, like you said, with the SOFT, that shit was funny. And I think people in the audience are actually, I think they're going to start chanting for him pretty soon. I think they're going to start cheering him.
And you blame it on Enzo.
Yeah,
you give credit to Enzo.
He's getting the rub from Enzo.
What's wrong with you?
Hey, I call it like I see it, bruh. Meanwhile, you just want to spread your hate. Because you're just a couple haters. Couple haters.
Well, I feel bad that we teased this because I don't know anything that I'm going to say that's just not going to come off as me saying that I don't like Enzo because he annoys me.
Because you're a hater.
But I'm going to say you're not untrue with the things that you are saying. Cruiserweight division is getting more attention because of Enzo Amore. I wish that it got attention for other reasons. But if the fucking 205 Live is just going to be the Enzo show for the next 6 months, it's going to get old real fast because the Enzo shtick is getting old. It's the same thing. He's just being a little bit more over the top with it.
True.
And I feel like eventually the crowd is going to turn on it.
Yeah, they might. But 205 Live this week, he wasn't even on the show.
I can't think of the last Enzo match that I watched that I was impressed with.
No, he's poo butt in the ring.
He's a fucking poo butt ass bullfrog
poo butt
rapper.
ass bullfrog rapper in the ring. He's terrible. But I don't give a shit. We know he's terrible.
I think you just talk about how much you love Enzo because you know it's going to piss people off on Twitter.
Not at all. I'm not a troll like that. I don't really give a shit about people like that.
You are so.
I'm not. I'm not a troll.
Right up there with fucking some of the trolliest trolls on Twitter.
Nah, blood. I might troll you, but that's about it. But that's just our normal banter. We would do that whether it was Twitter or on the phone or via text message. We shit on each other all the time. But
I feel like we're running out of time, and I want the Enzo debate to continue. And I need to bring more shit to the table. to tell you why you're wrong and prove it to you.
Yeah, because at this point, I'm winning this argument.
Holy shit, we ran out of time. I didn't even do Make It Work.
Next week. I got birthday sex to get to.
That's right. All right. So we'll have to continue this. Sorry, everybody. We hyped it on Twitter and we didn't even really fucking do it. But I think the mailbag blew up in our face this week and we didn't have enough time for it.
A mailbag blew up in your face.
Sounds like Fred Robinson. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, do so at WNA Podcast. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, do so at that Rob guy. That is Rob with 2 B's. If you'd like to follow Cliff on Twitter, it is at Cliff Does It All. Find us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Buy our shirt at StayRed, REDD.spreadshirt.com. If you'd like to email a question to the WNA mailbag, do it at WNApodcast@gmail.com or search the hashtag AskWNA on Twitter. Do you have anything to add, sir?
Nope.
You got to get to some sauce.
Got to throw down that PVE.
Powerful vegan erection. That's right. Happy birthday, baby. Happy birthday. You can go wake her up with a thud on the forehead.
That's right.
So I think it's time to go home.
I am Clifford L. to the Johnson.
Wow. I am Rob English saying to you, when life hands you adversity, always kick out at 2.
Sweet penis.
Bye.
SOFT.